Jerusalem, the city of peace, the city of David, the city of the great king, the oldest city on earth today. But this city has witnessed more terror, more destruction, and more suffering than any city on earth. That is what we are talking about today, and we are starting right now. Jerusalem is the most contested city in the world, with three major religions claiming it as theirs. Jerusalem is holy to Judaism because it housed the first and the second temples and was long considered the center of the world where God resided. To Muslims, Jerusalem is the third holiest site after Mecca and Medina. To Christians, Jerusalem is the place where Jesus walked, died, and rose again, and where Christian church began. Dr. Oral Roberts said, Jerusalem lies in the exact geographical center of the earth. No wonder there is so much fighting for this city. Jerusalem is the city of the great king. Sounds like the king wanted to be in the center of everything. Matthew 5 verse 35. No, by the earth, for it is his footstool. Neither by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king. When we say Jerusalem is in the center of the earth, this also means that the directions in the Bible are based on this city of Jerusalem. When we say the wise men came from the east, for example, we meant east of Jerusalem. North is also mentioned in the Bible, where the Antichrist will come from. We understand that this is north of Jerusalem. Jerusalem is the joy of the whole earth. Psalm 48 verse 1 through 2. Great is the Lord and greatly to be praised in the city of our God, in the mountain of his holiness. Beautiful for situation, the joy of the whole earth is Mount Zion on the sides of the north, the city of the great king. He's telling us that Jerusalem is actually the city of God. There are those who say they want to take Jerusalem. They must be very careful because this city belongs to God. Jerusalem and Zion are used interchangeably in the scriptures. The Lord will punish certain people because of Zion or Jerusalem. Isaiah 34 verse 8. For it is the day of the Lord's vengeance and a year of recompenses for the controversy of Zion. After reading this scripture, I just know I should be on the side of Israel. The Lord has a day of vengeance for the controversy of Zion or Jerusalem. In other words, it is not about being politically right or correct when it comes to Zion. It is about siding with the God of the Bible. He just told you in Isaiah that there is a day of vengeance for the controversy of Zion. If you want to continue calling Israel a terrorist state because of the Islamic narratives from media, you may go ahead. Let us talk about the history of this great city from the beginning to where we are today. I can tell you this city has a history and we all need to understand it. The word Yeru means foundation stone or cornerstone. The name Jerusalem then means the foundation stone of Salem, and it refers to the original cornerstone laid by the creator of the universe when he built the earth. In the beginning, this city was called Salem. You say, how do you know that? Well, Genesis chapter 14 verse 18. And Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought forth bread and wine, and he was the priest of the Most High God. So we see that Melchizedek was a king of this city. Can we find another scripture which uses this name Salem? Psalm 76 verse 2. In Salem also is his tabernacle, and his dwelling place in Zion. What does the New Testament say about this name? Hebrews chapter 7 verse 1 through 3. For this Melchizedek, king of Salem, priest of the Most High God, who met Abraham returning from the slaughter of the kings, and blessed him, to whom also Abraham gave a 10th part of all, first being by interpretation king of righteousness, and after that also king of Salem, which is king of peace, without father, without mother, without descent, having neither beginning of days nor end of life, made like unto the Son of God, abideth a priest continually. Around 14th century BC, during the days of Joshua, they started to call this city Jerusalem. Joshua chapter 10 verse 1. Now it came to pass when Adonizedek, king of Jerusalem, had heard how Joshua had taken Ai and had utterly destroyed it. The city was then occupied by Jebusites, hence it was called Jebus. Judges chapter 19 verse 1. But the man would not tarry that night, but he rose up and departed and came over against Jebus, which is Jerusalem. During the Jewish invasion, the city of Jerusalem remained in the hands of the Jebusites. The Israelites did not capture it, largely due to its defensive strength. The tribe of Benjamin was living side by side with the Jebusites for about 400 years. It was later in 1000 BC that David took full control of the city of Jerusalem. King David united the kingdom of Israel and moved his headquarters from Hebron to Jerusalem. Let us read about it. First, at that time, the Jebusites were boasting about Jerusalem being impenetrable and fortified. 2 Samuel chapter 5 verse 5 through 7. At Hebron, he reigned over Judah for 7 years and 6 months. And in Jerusalem, he reigned for 33 years over all Israel and Judah. Now the king and his men went to Jerusalem against the Jebusites, the inhabitant of the land. And they said to David, "You shall not come in here, but even those who are blind and those who limp will turn you away," thinking David cannot enter here. Nevertheless, David captured the stronghold of Zion, that is the city of David. Thank God David understood the biddings of the Lord and moved his headquarters to Jerusalem. It is no surprise to me that David was called a man after God's heart. Remember, King Saul, who is from the tribe of Benjamin, never took Jerusalem. He didn't even understand what Jerusalem meant to Israel. The United Kingdom of Israel continued successfully under King David and his son Solomon. But after Solomon, the kingdom was divided into Northern Kingdom and Southern Kingdom. The city of Jerusalem remained the capital of the Southern Kingdom. The Northern Kingdom continued until it was invaded by the Assyrians in 721 BC. The Southern Kingdom remained for more than a century before the city of the great king Jerusalem was taken. The Babylonians invaded this city the third time and burned it in 586 BC. Many of the Jews were captured and sent to Babylon during this invasion. It seemed that their hope was gone because the city was destroyed. It was like the end of Jerusalem. Around 200 BC, the city of Jerusalem was besieged and taken by Antiochus the Great. During this time, the Hellenistic Seleucid Empire forced their pagan god into the temple. And later, in 164 BC, Judas Maccabees led an army of Jewish dissidents to victory over the Seleucids. The city was captured and the temple was rededicated. The Roman Republic under Pompey the Great invaded Judea and took control of Jerusalem in 63 BC. Jerusalem was finally destroyed by the Romans in AD 70. Caliph Omar the Great took control even though it was only for a year between 636 AD to 637. This would be the first time Islam got their hands into this city. Very important. This is the first time. This is because Muslims like to think or talk as if Jerusalem has always belonged to them. Around 1099 AD, the Crusaders captured the city and killed many Muslims and Jews in Jerusalem, with the reason that Jerusalem was supposed to be a Christian city. To this day, many Muslims feel that Christians murdered Muslims during that time. But it should be noted that the Crusaders were Europeans, not Christians. There is no way in the Bible where Christians are encouraged to kill other people in order to get the land or any property. As a matter of fact, Jesus, who is our leader, teaches that if anyone wants to sue you and take your shirt, hand over your coat as well. If anyone forces you to go 1 mile, go with them 2 miles. Matthew 5 verse 40 through 42. That sounds like Christianity. But the one of the Crusaders was not Christianity at all. The Crusaders were not representing us, even though they were working with the Pope. Anyway, when the Crusaders took the city, you can tell that the Muslims did not have a strong army to fight these Europeans and claim Jerusalem. It was only in 1517, when the Ottoman Empire was growing very strong, that they finally took control of Jerusalem from 1517 until 1917, when the British controlled the region during World War I. From then on, the city was divided. Israel was born again as a nation in 1948, but this city was under Jordan at the time. It was only in 1967, during the Six-Day War, that Israel took back their city from the Arabs. Since then, the Arabs have not rested in their quest to reclaim Jerusalem. Many people have died over this city, and the international bodies are thinking of making this city an international city. To me, that will be dangerous because we saw that this city belongs to God. Now, it is important to notice that not once was Jerusalem ever under Palestine. This is a shocking reality. History does not say it anywhere. As we said it, the city was under the Ottoman Empire, and from then it was under the British, and later on Jerusalem was controlled by Jordan, not Palestine. Israel finally took it in 1967 to be completely under Israel. Palestine says Jerusalem is their city. How? I don't know. This is currently the big issue in the political world. Iran also wants this city. Turkey wants it too. This reminds me of the scripture in Zechariah chapter 12. Let's read it. Behold, I am going to make Jerusalem a cup that causes staggering to all the people around. And when the siege is against Jerusalem, it will also be against Judah. It will come about on that day that I will make Jerusalem a heavy stone for all the people. All who lift it will injure themselves severely, and all the nations of the earth will be gathered against Jerusalem. What the Lord is telling us, they are going to fight for this city, and that's what is happening. Interestingly, the people who are fighting are Muslims. What is the future of this city? Jerusalem will be invaded, and finally the armies of the Antichrist shall take it from the Jews, and the Lord will come and fight them and set Jerusalem as his capital, and he will rule and reign from Jerusalem for 1,000 years together with us who believe in him. Why is he coming back to reign from Jerusalem? Because this is the city of the great king, the city of peace, Jerusalem, Until next time, this is Bishop Judah, dissolving doubts and explaining of hard sentences